Once upon a time, long, long ago, lived a woman named Naomi. She had a husband and 2 sons. Life was good, but then, hard times came. Food became scarce. Their land dried up. Naomi's family journeyed to a distant land called Moab, hoping for a better life. Life in Moab was hard. Naomi's husband died. Her sons married Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. 10 years passed. Sorrow filled Naomi's heart. Then, Naomi's sons died too. She was alone, except for her daughters-in-law, Orpah and Ruth. News reached Naomi. The famine in Bethlehem had ended. People were joyful. Food was plentiful once again. Naomi decided to return to her homeland. She longed for Bethlehem, a place of comfort and familiar faces. She urged Orpah and Ruth to stay in Moab. "Go back to your mother's homes," Naomi pleaded. "May you find happiness and new husbands." Orpah wept and kissed Naomi goodbye. She returned to her people, her heart heavy with sadness. Ruth clung to Naomi. She refused to leave her mother-in-law's side. "Where you go, I will go," Ruth declared, her voice filled with love and determination. "Your people will be my people," Ruth continued, "and your God, my God." Ruth's words were a promise, a vow of unwavering loyalty. Naomi was touched by Ruth's devotion. Together they set out for Bethlehem, their hearts filled with both hope and uncertainty. The journey was long and tiring. Naomi and Ruth walked for miles, their sandals dusty from the road. They helped each other, sharing the weight of their meager possessions. Finally, they reached Bethlehem. The town bustled with activity. People hurried about their daily business. Yet to Naomi and Ruth, it felt like coming home. Naomi was overwhelmed with emotion. She had left Bethlehem with a family. Now, she returned a widow, accompanied only by her faithful daughter-in-law. Section 5. A Field of Promise. Ruth's hard work and Boaz's kindness. It was harvest time in Bethlehem. The fields were alive with activity, as farmers worked tirelessly to gather the golden barley. The air was filled with the sounds of rustling grain and the hum of labor. Ruth, a Moabite woman who had come to Bethlehem with her mother-in-law Naomi, was determined to provide for them. She knew that the only way to ensure their survival was to find work in the fields. With a heart full of hope and determination, she set out to glean in the barley fields. "Let me gather grain," she told Naomi. "I will find a field where I am welcome." Naomi, though worried for Ruth's safety, agreed, knowing they had little choice. Ruth's courage and willingness to work hard were their only hope. Ruth found herself in a field belonging to a wealthy landowner named Boaz. The field was lush and bountiful, a testament to Boaz's careful management and the blessings of the land. Ruth began to glean, picking up the leftover stalks of barley that the harvesters had missed. Boaz was a kind man, known for his fairness and generosity. He treated his workers with respect and ensured that even the poorest among them were cared for. His reputation as a just and compassionate landowner was well-deserved. Boaz noticed Ruth's diligence and humility. She worked tirelessly, never complaining and always with a sense of purpose. Her dedication stood out among the other gleaners, and Boaz was intrigued by her. He inquired about her, learning of her loyalty to Naomi. The workers told him how Ruth had left her homeland to support her mother-in-law, showing incredible devotion and love. Boaz was moved by her story and admired her strength and character. Boaz was deeply touched by Ruth's story. He saw in her a reflection of the values he held dear: kindness, loyalty, and hard work. Determined to help her, Boaz approached Ruth and offered her protection and support, ensuring she could glean safely in his fields. This act of kindness marked the beginning of a profound and transformative relationship. Section 6. Under Boaz's wings, protection and provision. "Listen, my daughter," Boaz said to Ruth, his voice filled with kindness and concern. "Don't go to any other fields to glean. Stay here in my fields with my servant girls." Boaz instructed his workers to treat Ruth with respect and generosity. They were to leave extra grain for her to gather. Ruth was overwhelmed by Boaz's compassion. She worked diligently, gathering barley for herself and Naomi. She felt safe and protected under Boaz's watchful eye. Section 7. The Kinsman Redeemer. A glimmer of hope for Ruth and Naomi. In the ancient land of Bethlehem, Ruth and Naomi found themselves in a dire situation. Naomi, having lost her husband and 2 sons, returned to her homeland with her Moabite daughter-in-law Ruth. They were both widows, struggling to survive in a society where women had limited means to provide for themselves. Yet, amidst their despair, a glimmer of hope began to shine through. Boaz, a wealthy and influential man in Bethlehem, noticed Ruth gleaning in his fields. Impressed by her dedication and loyalty to Naomi, he felt a deep sense of admiration for her. Ruth's hard work and humility did not go unnoticed, and Boaz's interest in her grew stronger with each passing day. As Boaz learned more about Ruth, he discovered that she was the widow of Mahlon, Naomi's son. According to their custom, known as the law of levirate marriage, a close relative of a deceased man had the right to marry his widow to preserve the family lineage. Boaz realized that he, being a relative of Naomi's late husband, had the right to marry Ruth and provide for her and Naomi. This custom, known as kinsman redemption, was a beacon of hope for Ruth and Naomi. It meant that Boaz could step in as their protector and provider, ensuring their well-being and continuing the family line. The prospect of such a future brought a sense of relief and anticipation to their hearts. Boaz, however, was a man of honor and integrity. He knew that there was another relative who was closer in line to Naomi's family and had the first right to marry Ruth. Boaz's respect for tradition and his commitment to doing what was right guided his actions. He contemplated the situation carefully, understanding the importance of following the proper procedures. Boaz's sense of duty and fairness was unwavering, and he was determined to handle the matter with the utmost respect and consideration for all parties involved. He promised Ruth that he would approach this other relative first, seeking his right to marry her. Boaz assured her that he would resolve the matter swiftly and justly, ensuring that Ruth and Naomi's future would be secure. This promise brought a renewed sense of hope and trust in Boaz's character, as Ruth and Naomi awaited the outcome with bated breath. Section 8, a love story unfolds. Boaz marries Ruth. The other relative, unwilling to jeopardize his inheritance, stepped aside. Boaz, overjoyed, was now free to marry Ruth. The news brought joy to Naomi's heart. The people of Bethlehem celebrated. They witnessed the faithfulness of Ruth, the kindness of Boaz, and God's provision for them all. Boaz and Ruth married, their love story a testament to God's faithfulness. They had a son, Obed, who became the grandfather of King David. Section 9, Lessons of Ruth loyalty, kindness, and God's providence. The story of Ruth and Boaz is a timeless tale, one that has been passed down through generations, resonating with people from all walks of life. It is a narrative that transcends time and culture, offering profound insights into the human condition and the divine plan. It reminds us that love and loyalty know no boundaries. Ruth, a Moabite woman, chose to stay with her mother-in-law Naomi, even after the death of her husband. Her decision to leave her homeland and follow Naomi to Bethlehem is a powerful testament to her loyalty and love. It teaches us that God can bring beauty from ashes. Despite the hardships and uncertainties they faced, Ruth and Naomi found hope and new beginnings in Bethlehem. Their story is a reminder that even in the darkest times there is potential for renewal and transformation. Ruth's unwavering devotion to Naomi, Boaz's compassion and integrity, and the divine providence that guided their paths are central themes in this story. Boaz, a man of great character, showed kindness and generosity to Ruth, ensuring her safety and well-being. And God's guiding hand in their lives offer us valuable lessons that are as relevant today as they were in ancient times. The story encourages us to trust in a higher power, to believe that there is a plan for each of us, even when we cannot see it. Be loyal in your relationships, even when times are tough. Ruth's loyalty to Naomi is a shining example of how steadfast love and commitment can overcome adversity. It challenges us to stand by our loved ones, to support them through thick and thin. Show kindness to those in need, offering a helping hand whenever you can. Boaz's actions towards Ruth demonstrate the importance of compassion and generosity. In a world that often feels divided, acts of kindness can bridge gaps and build stronger communities. Trust in God's plan, even when life's path seems uncertain. Ruth and Naomi's journey was fraught with challenges, but their faith never wavered. Their story inspires us to hold on to our faith, to believe that there is a purpose behind every twist and turn in our lives. The story of Ruth and Boaz encourages us to embrace these virtues in our own lives, to cultivate loyalty, kindness, and faith in our daily interactions. By doing so, we can create a ripple effect that touches the lives of those around us, fostering a sense of community and belonging, creating a world where love, kindness, and faith prevail. In a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain, the story of Ruth and Boaz offers a beacon of hope, reminding us that these timeless virtues can guide us through any storm.